Hey, this is PJ with an update. I I cut the drive shaft, and that meant that I had to do things like it looks wonky, I know, but I had to that means you gotta extend the little brake lever and the other part that stops it from moving. Well, I got it off, taking a look at it, and the shoes on these brakes here, you see the little lip of it right about there. There's not much left to it, so I'm gonna buy some new ones. They're pretty cheap. Well, it rides really fucking nice, and it looks really fucking badass. Not like this one. There's nothing left to it but the back end, but I got the wheel off, and I decided to get smart this time because I always thought you had to drop the engine to get the drive shaft out, but I just took off the old swing arm, and this is my modification that I made. While I got it off, I'm gonna grind down my welds and clean it up. It looks like shit, I know, but this is how you do it. This is how I do it anyway. If I was gonna do it professionally, I would have gotten a perfect piece of pipe, you know, plug welded it on the inside, but I got pipe that fit over it. And anyway, I cut the drive shaft. This is the drive shaft, and I don't know if you can, it's so greasy, I don't know if you can see it, but right there, you see right, it's kind of hard to see it, right there, let's see, is that the side? Yep. You see how it's going out that way a little bit? I knew it was like that when I was going to put it in, and I was in a rush. Shouldn't be in a rush when I'm doing this shit, there's no reason for it, but I was like, a little bit of wiggle. I figured the other one that I made was off a little bit, possibly, but it was scraping a little bit. You can kind of see right there is, see right there, a little rub mark? Right there, and I could hear it when I was going down, you know, the road in neutral, and I figured it was just going like this, but that's okay. I didn't wreck my the hub. I didn't wreck the hub. It's fine. But this right here was just rubbing on the inside, and I can't fucking have that. That was letting me know that it was off. So, in case you ever want to remove the drive shaft, taking out the swing arm is pretty easy. And I'll give you a tip later for adjusting the rear brake, which involves nothing with this little stupid like spring doodad that people are always confused. They're like, oh, I gotta put it on like this, or I gotta have somebody over there to push down the brake for me so I can get it adjusted right. No, it's so much easier with my method, and I think that might make the next video worthwhile. But this little thing right here, I bought a cool shock that was adjustable on eBay from a Suzuki GS500, and that's a 500, so I figured it would work. It's definitely not as powerful as the other shock I had, which was from a Buell, but it works. I had to drill out 1/2-inch holes in here so that it would fit, you know, my previous bracket that I have right here that was 5/8. Got these little bushings inside of it to make it 1/2-inch. Is it nice? So there's always a bushing on it. Always a bushing now. I'm never messing around with anything else. The first time I put it on, this right here went kunk, and so I made an extra super chunk right here just to hold it, and it works great. It's mostly a pushing up force, which means that it was pushing down on this a lot. But this right here is super strong. But yeah, this is where I had it mounted before, and it was at about 8 inches. Oh, 8 inches to there, from the mount to there, and it's 7 inches on my other bike, and I extended the drive shaft 4 inches. I extended this one about 6. I thought it was going to be 7, but the pipe overlapped a little bit extra. So I'm like, doing the math in my head, like, I needed it to be at least 10 inches. I got it to 11 now. From here to there is 11 inches. And I had to move down the mount even further from right here down to down to there. So, because the whole idea was that I needed the seat to be low, and now I sit on it and it's freaking perfect. I got my little footrest down there, and I could ride it like a big bitch all day long, and it's super comfortable. And this right here is tilted back just slightly, and I got my new ignition right there mounted down there. I think I'm gonna mount it like right down here on this thing because it won't move too much later. But I'm gonna cut the drive shaft again. I probably just need to grind down the weld a little bit and then just bend it the right way and make sure it's really straight. And we'll see you next time, and I'll show you how to adjust your brake if I get the new pads in. Thanks. See ya. Welcome back. I got the rear wheel back on and the new swing arm all painted, the old swing arm painted to look nice. And I got a cool gold recycling sticker in the essence of what this is all about, and I really like recycling. And this bike is made from numerous random parts. I got the golden recycling sticker on the tank, which is pretty, I don't know what you call it. Anyway, the paint looks all nice and shiny now. It was really easy to get back on. I cut the drive shaft, banged that fucker with a hammer, you know, and just got it, eyeballed it as best I could, and it does not make a peep now. Oh, I can't turn the wheel because I got the stand, and it's almost impossible to adjust it perfect unless I put it up on a block and then I can spin it. But anyway, I promised you I was going to tell you how to my little trick for adjusting the rear brake without having to fiddle around with this doodad. I only had to use it just a little bit, but I set it at halfway, and I don't need to show you because frankly I can't hold my camera and do all the work. What you do is you separate the arm that holds it. It basically holds it straight perpendicular. You take it and then you take that off and you put this on just a little bit so that it can still completely move. And then you, oh yeah, you have to have the bolt on the other side to have the wheel loose, because otherwise this whole thing right here doesn't want to turn. But you undo that and you have that right there loose but on there, and then you move this forward to right about here. You can have it out to here and you'll get a really tight brake and it won't move at all. But if you just move it forward like 2 inches, about 2 inches, then you put this on, and then you push this back. It's way easier to push this back, and you hear it go clink, 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 up there with the spring that holds up your foot of your brake, and then you can connect this back on and pop that sucker in and tighten everything down, and works amazing. You know, I didn't even have to, I only had to adjust this just a little bit to tighten it, just a little bit, just like hardly anything. It took me like 5 minutes, and then, you know, I tested and my brake light worked. This is amazing. You know, there was like a mount right here. You can't see anything on here, you know, it's too dark, but I kept the one part of the frame pipe on there, and there was a little hole right there for holding the air box. And I mounted my brake switch right there, and it's adjustable, so I can always fix my brake light if it wasn't going off. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is, when I had the swing arm on there, oh man, there's not enough light, never enough light. Anyway, I put you can kind of see it, I welded a bolt right here into the middle of the swing arm while I had the paint off, because I'm going to take my ignition system and I'm going to mount it right there, because underneath the seat it kind of, you know, it looks a little weird, and I want to clean this up a little bit, so I'm going to move it down there. I've got like, I don't know, there's like 1.5 feet of wire that comes out of the motor, because everything is supposed to be mounted way back there. And I'll cut these wires and shorten them after I mount it down there and clean it up a whole bunch, because this freaking crap down here looks like shit. And I really don't need all of it. This is, like I said, just extra junk there, and I'll take off the pods and I'll clean up my weld right here, and I'll paint it again because it looks pretty sharp now with nice clean, you know, I used epoxy paint. And then the next order of business, really quick, I only got like 30 seconds. I'm going to redo the handlebars. Not yet, because they still work okay. I bought these things right here. These are sway bar bushings, and these are 33 millimeters. And these are locks to stop the rod from going in and out of the bushing. And I still have, oh, you can't see them, the old forks. Da 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 da. You can imagine what I'm going to do there. I'm going to use the old forks for suspension. Alright,